We are back with an overdue interview. Too much of me and Willie talking lately. So Jayden James is on the podcast today. How are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm pumped to have you on, man. I was talking to KD, and he just sings your praises. And I'm like, let's get him on the podcast. Let's let people kind of hear from him. You're such a stoic wrestler at times, and I was laughing. We'll talk about it in a few minutes, but after your semi-final win at Worlds, you were just so excited. I'm like, I love seeing that energy. I love seeing that excitement. You're normally such a stoic wrestler, which many are.
Yeah, I mean, I usually don't really have the big celebration or anything like that, but that semis, I kind of just, it wasn't even me. That just I was just fired up. That just happened.
Well, fresh off winning the U17 title, man, Cadet World Champ. A few days later, you kind of went on a 3-4 day vacation. Has it sunk in that you're now a world champ?
Yeah, I'd say today probably a little bit, getting back home and everything. My grandma decorated the front of my house and everything, so that was kind of cool. So I'd say today's kind of the first day after I really got to settle down and think about it.
That's awesome. How much too, for us fans, the team race was so exhilarating. How awesome was that for you? Not just becoming a world champ, but doing it as the whole squad.
Yeah, I really wasn't even aware of any of the team race stuff the whole tournament. I wasn't really thinking about it that much. I didn't even know that until I got finished and I'm waiting in the waiting area to go on the podium. That KD was telling me if this Russian beats this Iranian, we win a team race. So we have all of USA cheering for Russia right now, and this Russian kid has no clue why. We're all jumping around him after we won the match and everything. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. And I imagine too, you're a part of high school teams, you're going to be a part of college teams, you're a part of teams, but Team USA, it's such a unique setting because it's not. You have to earn that spot competing against kids all over the country to represent the country, and it's such a small pool where it's there's pride at the high school and college level, but Team USA, it's you're earning that spot amongst the whole country, and to do that as a team, that's so rare. And I don't even know if it's sunk in for you yet because it's still so fresh, but man, that's got to be awesome as a team.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It really does feel like you versus the world when you're out there, especially when you go in and then your team goes wins also. It's this is pretty awesome. It was definitely a unique experience.
So talking that semifinal match, like we were just talking about, you are typically it's funny. So normally when I make a graphic and this and that, I'm waiting for the finals photos to come out because the celebrations are usually so much more enthusiastic. Yours were a little reverse. Your finals was I was supposed to win this title, but the semis, you were just beyond elated. What went into that celebration and what was that like?
Yeah, I mean that Armenian kid was pretty good. So it was a pretty crazy match. There was some fun scrambles in there. So when I finally stuck him with that half at the end of the match, I was just all adrenaline. I was just super fired up. That was probably my biggest celebration in my whole career. A lot of the stuff that I think about when I'm wrestling is especially in the finals match, I'm up 9-2. Not necessarily that I'm not surprised that I'm winning the match or I'm I expected to win that match, and not that I didn't expect to win other matches, but that was just the other match was more a dramatic ending. I'm up 7-2, dominating the whole match. I don't really have that fired up energy anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just going out there doing what I'm supposed to do, controlling the match.
So after you have that rare emotional celebration for the semis, what's your mindset heading into finals?
Kind of just, all right, that was cool. Now just go back to doing what you always do. So it's just, the job definitely wasn't finished after that match. So it was kind of just, that was cool. Awesome. Got some cool photos from it or whatever. Cool moment for me and KD. But now this is why we're here. That's what the whole summer preparation was for that match tomorrow.
And when you win the finals, you wrestled great all weekend. So it's not nobody's surprised that you won. There were, conversations that you were the best pound for pound guy in that entire, world championships. For you, when you win the finals, is there a sigh of relief? You still got to go out there, and it is you versus the world. It is so tough. You're wrestling kids that are the best in all the other countries in the world. What's that feeling like, winning that world title? Is it relief? Is it, that was the expectation? What is that like?
A little bit of both, I'd say. We put a lot of, me and Katie, RTCs, my practice partners, we put a lot of work in all summer long. to get to that point. So like to actually reach that point, it's like when I like got my hand raised, it's like wow, like it was all worth it. But yeah, I mean that's really I'd say the biggest thing. It's like it was a little sigh of relief, but also like knowing what I put in, knowing I kind of gave my whole summer away to that goal. Like
Yeah.
I also expected at the same time. Like I wasn't going there to take anything but gold.
I love that. And you mentioned KD, and I love to see the dynamic you guys have. You can tell how genuine it is on both sides. What's that relationship been like, and how much do you think it's helped prepare you for a tournament like you had?
Yeah, I mean there's no like other relationship like that. I never had a coach athlete relationship like that in any of my wrestling career so far. It's just I mean like he's really just like a best friend, an older brother, someone to look up to, and then he also helps me on the wrestling mat also. So I mean, it's just when you have a genuine relationship like that, you give him your full trust. Like it's a lot better for your progression when you know like this guy, no matter what he's doing, he's not looking for the money, he's not looking for the fame, he just wants to see you do great. So when you put your full belief in him, like no matter what he says, then you're just gonna keep progressing.
And KD has made such a name for himself and the KD Training Center these past few years. You're seeing it play out with Zach Ryder, Rocco Welch, PJ Duke, yourself. The success has been so obvious. Being a part of that group, like when you have a guy like one of those four I just mentioned, including yourself, like one off, it's not a huge deal. But being a part of that group, it speaks volumes. And being a part of that group, what has that meant to you?
I'd say the biggest thing for me is that like knowing I have other guys like going through the same things as me. Like I just put in a good training camp for my worlds, and now PJ and Rocco are doing the same for them. So it's kind of like a sense of community. Like we're all going through the same stuff. We all have the same goals in mind, and we just all, I mean, like we really all just love wrestling. So it's just cool to have other people, like-minded people with you on your journey. It makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and you guys have a cool setup, man, because you're working with both a club coach and a high school coach. How do you manage that balance, and how do you think that's benefited your development?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's my I go to Dub and so we have like also like I have a really good situation for in season stuff also.
Yeah.
But I'd say like having that relationship with KD, like he's not just like it's not just like superficial. So like that relationship just builds all year long. So I can kind of go to KD whenever. Versus I feel like maybe some other club coaches like during the high school season they might not be in touch with their guys as much or can't really reach out to each other. So like kind of being able to keep that all year long doesn't like makes us like not miss a beat. It makes us all ready to go for the opens, which are pretty soon after season. So I think that's like a big thing. It makes the transition really easy.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of actually 100%, and talking high school, 43-0 this past year in high school, 100% bonus rate. I think I made the graphic for KD, like only one match went the distance. What's behind that level of dominance? Is it mindset? Is it more just the training? What do you attribute to that?
I attribute that to a lot of things. I'd say the biggest thing I'd say is mindset. I'd say that's the biggest shift I had this last probably year or so in my wrestling. Just like confidence in myself and my training, and I'd say that's a lot to do with Katie and my family, and just knowing now that I'm putting all I have into the sport, and it's kind of reflecting on the mat. But another thing I think I've been thinking about this a little bit myself is that like I just really love the sport of wrestling. Like I just love going to practice. I can spend 3 hours in a practice room twice a day and I'll be happy. I just love going out there, sparring, learning new technique, going hard. So I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for me is that I really learned to have confidence in myself, and then I really truly developed a love for what I'm doing. So when you put those two together, it's kind of hard to stop.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy, man, because, I was talking to my buddy Don Bashada, a close friend of mine who's a brain when it comes to Jersey. Anything that's happened in the last 30 years in Jersey, he knows it all. His brain, the way he can recall things is crazy. And I was talking to him, I said, Jayden's coming on the podcast tomorrow. And he's kind of giving me the rundown of maybe like interesting topics or this or that. And, we were talking about how it's crazy that you are so dominant. 43-0 this year, now a Cadet World Champ. And still in New Jersey, it took until you were a junior to win a state title. I think that really speaks to how tough Jersey wrestling is. To that effect, how has Jersey been for you? And, you know, we talk on this podcast often like iron sharpening iron, and the better your competition is, the better your teammates are, the more it helps you develop. Being in part of that Jersey wrestling scene, what has that meant to you?
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. Those 2 losses that I took at my freshman year and sophomore year at States, I think are probably some of the most influential losses in my career that helped me become where I am and where I'll continue to be. So I mean, it's definitely awesome to have those guys, you know, wrestling every weekend, going to these national tournaments, and I mean, you're kind of seeing the same guys, but it's also pretty cool to see like you grew up with these guys, so like it's pretty cool to see all of us dominating on the national scene also. So it's definitely just, I mean, there's just no wrestling culture like New Jersey. Like it's really just Jersey wrestling. You gotta be there to understand it. But it's awesome. You know, it just builds a certain toughness in your wrestling, and kind of just like, screw everyone, I'm gonna go win no matter who it is. Because a lot of the times you look at these finals matchups, like you'll go to these kids' Instagrams or something, and they'll be training with each other 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and they're training with each other, warming up each other at Fargo. So it's just like constant like flipping on the switch, knowing where to draw the line. I think that's like pretty cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. And when you do finally like break through, like it's not like you were some terrible wrestler freshman, sophomore. Like you were incredible, only a couple of losses, but now you have this level of dominance. What do you look forward to now the most the next season?
For me, the most next season is again that team state title. We lost to St. Joe's Regional last year. We won my sophomore year, lost last year. So that's really the main goal for me. It's just helping me and my guys get that final state championship my senior year. That'll be super cool for us.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And again, like you talk about Jersey wrestling, it's crazy how like Don was talking to me about St. Joe's and Del Barton, and you know how good everybody's getting in Jersey. It's like its own little wrestling world. So apart from that, short-term, long-term goals, what's on your radar now that the U17 championships are over?
Yeah, so planning on going who's number 1 next. That stuff's not finalized yet, but that's gonna most likely be the plan. Compete there in October. Then just go through my senior year, hopefully win that team state title, win another state title, and then kind of the same schedule, get back to training for freestyle. U20 next year, so that's pretty cool. New age group, new guys, and then getting ready to leave for college now too, which is pretty crazy. This fall I gotta apply and everything to Penn State, so this is pretty crazy. Time flies.
I want to talk about Penn State in a minute, but when you compete as much as you do, and as a wrestling fan, we all love it. Like we'll talk in a minute too about the class of 2026. Like it's bananas, and I feel like we're so blessed with how much you young guys especially want to compete. When you compete as much as you do and you have so much success, how much focus or attention do you put, or maybe you don't at all, but on preventing burnout in the future? You know, you're still so young, and sometimes you saw it with Nate Jezeroga, he kind of burned out. It was like, I don't like this no more. You know, I'm done. Is there anything you do to kind of prevent burnout and kind of stay in love with the sport?
Yeah, I'd say there's 2 things. One is like competing with the right mindset. I feel like if you compete, just go get better and not really worry about those wins and losses. Those losses aren't going to really take a toll on you that much. You're just going to look at those matches and be like, all right, there's another level I got to get to, or I got to work on this so I can get better and win that match next time. So like those, if you compete with that mindset, like those losses aren't going to weigh you down. I think Katie and my parents like to say is like, when you lose a match, like nobody's going to love you any less. The sun rises the next day. So kind of that mentality has been big for, I think, me and all of our guys at KD. And then another thing I think is just the way you practice and train. A lot of these clubs like to go like super hard 5 days a week, and that's tougher than those losses. Like you're going hard practice, hour and a half live every day of the week. That gets your body beat up. So just knowing how to train properly, how to eat properly, how to lift properly, where you're still feeling fresh after competing a lot is big, because it just gives you that confidence when you compete. It's like you don't feel sucked out or your body's tired. You're just ready to go for every competition.
Yeah, and you mentioned U20s, and it's like even this year as a cadet, you won the U20 World Team Trials Challenge Tournament, ended up dropping the best of 3 series to D. Lockett, who incredibly talented. Like that's no slouch to lose to.
Yeah.
Already having success in an age level now, does that excite you, like kind of having a taste of U20s and where you need to be? Like you're that close. It's literally only D. Lockett, who I have very high expectations for next week at U20 Worlds. Like what does that do for you as you approach that next age level group now?
Yeah, no, that was definitely cool to see how I stacked up against those guys. I mean, you always have, again, like talking about, I always have full confidence in myself, but you also never know. Like those guys, most of those guys I wrestled are in college now, so like you never truly know until you go out there and put on all on the line. So seeing how I performed, and getting a feel for those guys, I think was really big. And even wrestling Ladarian, I mean, getting a feel for Ladarian, I think was big for my wrestling. I mean, he's super good, super athletic. So like just feeling that for the first time, I think is definitely gonna play a big role in my future, for sure.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that you have to apply to Penn State. And, so initially you were committed to Virginia Tech. You flipped to Penn State, all the Penn State fans, myself included, excited for that. What went into that decision?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Virginia Tech guys still. They're great people. It's still a great program. But just kind of reevaluating my goals. I mean, I feel like if you want to be the best, you want to win World Olympic titles, that's just kind of where you have to be. So I took a visit out there, and the energy in the room, I think, was the biggest thing for me. Is what I tell a lot of people. You go in that room, everyone kind of has the same mindset that I strive to have and what KD preaches. Those guys just love wrestling. They love competing. They're always having fun, smile on their face. So that was a big thing. And another thing that kind of I just experienced this week with KD that my dad talked about, but I didn't really play into a factor in my decision, but I'm glad I have that now, is the experience in the international scene. Like KD, I was out there with KD, and he's obviously been to a lot of world championships. He's been around the country. He knows how to handle those competitions. I can only imagine being there with like a coach for the first time. Like it's a learning experience for sure, how to go about those competitions, warm-ups, checking your weight and everything. So going to those Penn State guys, they've been doing it for who knows how long. They've been doing it forever. Yeah. So having that experience with them just gives you another boost of confidence.
I give those Penn State coaches a lot of credit, man. All they do all summer is travel. Like they got guys at every single world championships. It's like, it's crazy how much traveling they do, and you don't really think about it until you're trying to get a hold of one of them, and it's like, no, they're in Bulgaria right now, they're in Croatia right now. It's crazy. Yeah. We talked about that KD training center group earlier, and now you're going to be reuniting with PJ Duke, Rocco Welch in that room. How excited are you about that?
Yeah, I'm so pumped for that. That was also a big part of my decision, having those two guys in the room. They're super close friends of mine, so having that bond already when I go into the room is just awesome. Those are just, we just have a special bond at KD. It's hard to describe. So, but just having those faces in the room already, it's just gonna be super fun. It's gonna be. We never all competed on the same team together because we don't really do dual tournaments in our club. We just don't do it. So it'll definitely be cool, especially in the future. We're probably all going to be around the same weight range. We could have a little 1, 2, 3 of all KD guys. Could be pretty cool.
Yeah, just don't end up at the same weight. There's already enough depth at Penn State. Yeah. Let's get you guys spread out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned, you talk about the KD training guys. You mentioned the coach's international experience and their regimen with that. What else excites you the most about becoming a Nittany Lion?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing for me is just I just can't wait to get better. I mean, you go to that room, you can't. I don't think you ever say a guy went to Penn State and got worse. So I'm just excited to go there and just learn from all these guys. The amount of talent and the amount of knowledge in that room is just crazy. And as much as I'm a wrestler, I'm a wrestling fan also. I just love learning new stuff. I know all the little tidbits and bracket stuff from years ago. I love everything about wrestling. So kind of surrounding myself in that environment is going to be super awesome.
So you're like the Diakomahalis gang, because those guys, there's there's wrestlers who don't really care too much about the sport outside of like loving competing and winning. And then there's guys like, if you talk to like, hey, what happened 3 years ago at this tournament with this guy? And like, oh, this is what went wrong. Like, it's cool. And that's what KD said. KD praised your wrestling IQ. Where do you think that, I don't know if it's the love of the sport or if it's developing the wrestling IQ. Like, where do you think that high IQ for wrestling comes from?
Yeah, I'd say on the mat. I think just like mainly like going into practice and like just sparring all different kinds of positions, not really like caring like if you give up points or anything. I think that's a big thing. Like I always mess around with KD, like when I'm wrestling with PJ, so I'm like, it's better go at 4 now than on the mat. Like I just like, go out there and let it fly. But another thing, like when I was younger, like I didn't really like watch TV or anything or like play with toys. Like I just always wanted to wrestle. Like I went to wrestling practice, I came home, I wrestled with like these huge like stuffed animals that I had. I would just watch matches all day, highlights, go through all the brackets when at tournaments when I was like too young to go to them. So I just like, it's really just like all I've done my whole life. So I mean, it's just awesome.
I love that. And you know, we kind of talked about it earlier. You are a part of such a loaded class. That class of 2026, you don't really notice, is Willie and I do like big board shows and we look at class of 2027, 2028. It really, in my opinion, puts a light on how impressive this class is. Jax Forrest, Bo Bassett, Drayshawn Ross, the Rainey twins. What is it like being a part of such an incredibly talented class?
Yeah, no, it's definitely pretty cool. It's definitely awesome to have like a lot of these guys in our class be super good. Because like I always looked at like the class of 2025. Like they're super deep. Like you go down like top 50 in their class, it's like these guys are all studs. But our class, we have like our top 10, I think, can compete with like almost any class of all time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to be a part of that for sure.
Now, how much competitiveness is there or isn't there when I think the last time I checked, Willie had you ranked number 3 overall in the class. How much of that, like, do you care? Like, I feel like it's cool to be top 5, top 10, top 25, whatever. How much of that is competitive? Like, well, I want to try to be the number 1 guy in the class by the time I graduate.
It'd definitely be cool to be number 1 guy, but I don't really care for that stuff. Really, It doesn't really. Nobody really knows who the number 1 guy in the class of 2020 was. Like, that stuff doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So it'd definitely be cool, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't really affect me too much.
Yeah, I feel like, to be honest, it's almost when you think of 2020, you're right. You don't necessarily think about who is number 1. Well, you think about who performed the best, who was maybe ranked 9th, but won 2-3 titles. Like it's a lot more about how your college career goes, which is why I brought up the burnout thing too. You know, it's like so many guys when you talk big board. Willie and I were debating doing some shows, like talking about the guys who were very low in the big board and have awesome college careers, guys who were really high and end up their college careers really low. So very excited. I don't think you're going to have a hard time adjusting there. When you get to Penn State, what do you think you're looking forward to the most? We talked about what excites you the most, but looking forward to the most, like from a day-to-day, you think? Is it the training partners? Is it a fresh coaching staff? Like, what is it that kind of helps you get excited about like the future development?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is like just like actually like being there, like, and having like a set schedule. I mean, like where I am now, like we obviously like we do our best with like getting all our practices and all of our lists and everything, but sometimes stuff just comes up. So like I just got my license, so that helps out a lot too. But like sometimes like maybe like my mom works later some, so I can't get to the lift, so like that just like I lose the lift for that week. Just actually being there and having like no distractions, a set schedule, you're here at this time, you're doing this at this time. I'm super excited for that for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I'm excited for you to get to that room. All right, I'm going to let you go here in a few minutes. I know you literally just got back from Greece. Let's do a little fan Q&A. And a lot of the questions, honestly, were worked in naturally already, questions that I had prepared. But let's do some rapid fan Q&A. And we'll see how many we can get to. 'Cause there's a lot of repeats. All right. What's the most important aspect to go from average to elite?
I'd say the most important aspect would be to enjoy going to practice and giving your all at every practice.
Who is on the Mount Rushmore? It's an interesting question. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of positivity? Top 4 positive people.
I'm gonna say KD for sure. I'm gonna go with my mom.
That's a good one. Brownie points.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna say Coach Kale, and then the last one, positivity. That could be. This is a tough question, actually. I didn't really think about this. I don't know who I'm gonna give that last one to.
So we got KD, Kale, and your mom is 3.
Yeah.
You got one more spot.
One more spot. I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna go with my older brother also.
I was literally just gonna say, is your brother a positive person? Because he's got success. I gotta imagine he's motivated.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my older brother.
All right. Good responses. Sam Herring wants to know if you're a good roommate.
I'd like to say so.
There you go, Sam.
I'm pretty clean, so I'd like to say so.
Favorite post-match meal?
Favorite post-match meal, like after weigh-ins or after a tournament's done?
They just said post-match meal, so it's kind of up for debate.
All right. After weigh-ins, my go-to's peanut butter banana honey sandwich. But after like a nice long tournament, my go-to is definitely pasta.
Do you know Matt McCutcheon likes peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches? Just a fun fact about a Penn State alumni.
That's pretty gross, I'm not going to lie.
It's 100% gross. I hope he's listening. Do you think you can take your dad down?
100%. 100%. He's pretty big, but I got that, I think.
This was an interesting one. I don't know who their name is, but they said, does Jayden remember coaching kids at the Del Barton tournament because he coached me?
I do remember. I don't remember kids exactly, but if a kid didn't have a coach or their coach was running late, I definitely step in a little bit and give some advice for sure. That was pretty cool.
How's the current weight cut going?
Super easy. I don't really cut weight. I walk around at like 162, so it's just kind of one workout. If you follow Katie on Instagram, you could see at the whole tournament of me just like eating meals. He posted like every single meal I had, so it's really easy.
So I love this trend of younger guys. Like Bo Bassett was on here talking about how much he's just like going up and focusing less and less on weight cut. Do you see that more of a trend, do you think, with younger guys finally like ditching extreme weight cutting? Obviously, we're always going to see it in the sport, but do you see a trend in like high school teammates and around you of that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because once you have like a couple guys, like you notice like they're not cutting weight and they're still succeeding, and then you just like kind of get into like the science behind it and like the nutrition stuff. Like there really isn't necessarily a need. Like if you're good at wrestling, like you're gonna go and win matches. So like next year I'm gonna go 165. Like I'm just gonna keep going up. There's no need to cut weight. Like I believe in my wrestling ability enough where that shouldn't really be a factor. I'm not gonna really lose a match, but being too small. That's what kind of I go by.
For sure. Are you nervous to split fandom between Penn State and Notre Dame football?
No, I wouldn't say so.
So for people who maybe don't know, Jayden's brother running back for Notre Dame. So there's some questions in here about split fandom. And
that's funny.
Mentally, how do you manage the success you've had while competing in high school?
Kind of what I said before, just knowing that I can always get better and there's always more and more levels to jump, and that's just like challenging myself, whether at being at U20s or stuff like that, just knowing that you could always just keep getting better and better at wrestling. So that's how I kind of manage it. Like all success is cool, but next year, in 2 weeks, I got to focus on something else. Like I'm a world champ, but that's over. Like that's got to get to the next best thing.
Yeah. This one seems like it might have an agenda. The question is best warm-up partner, question mark. And the person submitting the question is Tanner Hodgins.
Yeah, me and Tanner warmed up together this week, so definitely a good warm-up partner. I don't know if I'm going to give him the best, though. I have a couple good warm-up partners, but he's definitely – I give him top 5 for sure.
How strong is PJ Duke?
Probably the strongest wrestler I've ever felt.
Really?
It's actually crazy. Yeah. Like his lats and his hips and everything, you really just have to feel it. It's crazy.
He looks it. I mean, you can tell. Like, even Yanni was kind of like not laughing about it, but like he was saying, Yanni was on here after the Open, and he was saying that he could either wrestle like the older guy in James Green, the younger guy in PJ Duke, and he was saying like PJ Duke has always been this strong guy, like just walks out to the mat with his headgear, and he's maintained that level of strength. All right, a lot of these we've answered. How's your pickleball game these days? Another Sam Herring question.
Pretty good. I mean, I was playing with Marcus a couple weeks ago, and he's the best pickleball player I've ever seen in my life. So I came back and played with my hometown friends for a little bit, and I was definitely kind of crushing them. So I'm definitely improving.
Love that. All right, last one here. Who, as a future Penn State wrestler, who's your favorite current or former Penn State wrestler?
I'd say my favorite. This is kind of like it kind of switched up recently, but Flo's been doing like a little bit of like the Century teams. Yeah. So I'd say my favorite right now is probably Ed Ruth. I've been watching some of his matches and everything. Like I remember watching him when I was young, but I didn't realize how like smooth and slick he was.
Crazy
and everything.
good.
So it was yeah. Some of those takedowns he had are crazy. So I'm gonna go with Ed Ruth.
Who got booted for Ed Ruth? Because I can't wait to hear this one. Rub it in their face. Who got booted out of the fandom for Ed?
I'd say it was like kind of I don't know. Like I loved RBY just because like I kind of have a good relationship with him.
Yep.
Jason Nolk, who's always super fun to watch. David Taylor, all those guys, but just I never really sat down and really watched Ed Ruth matches until recently, and I'm gonna have to give the crown to him wrestling wise for sure.
Yeah, he was talented, man. All right, Jayden, I think that's all I got for you today. Thank you for making the time to come on. Congrats again on being a world champ. We're all excited for what's next for you. Any final words here before I let you go?
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Awesome, man. We'll chat soon. Thanks for coming on.
All right, yeah.
See ya.